Hi everyone. Hi, Ravi is with us today, and let us go for a conversation with Ravi, and he'll share his knowledge and experiences with us. Hi Ravi.
Hi, Kumar.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Good.
Yeah, please share your experiences and knowledge to all the viewers and my friends, and where you studied, and then how moved to US, and then if you travel to various nations, and what are the advices you give it for the students in India and outside America. What kind of technologies they should learn. One second is those who finished masters here, international students, generally they send queries. For them, what is your advice?
Okay. So thanks for having me here. It's a great thing. I mean, I want to share my thoughts with your viewers. I have over 15 years of experience. I did my master's in computer applications back in India, in Hyderabad, and then after that I had opportunities to work in several countries. So I had opportunities to work in US for a long. So I have quite a bit experience. I have traveled, worked in Europe. I have worked in Asian countries like Korea and Singapore, and I have worked in Europe, Netherlands, Paris, to name a bit, and extensively in the US. So one advice I would give every student. Obviously, if students are coming here, they have some edge. They will be part of the educational system here. You have to be outspoken. I mean. These countries are all about being outspoken. If you are timid or you keep your things to yourself, you may not gel well, you may not like it here. I mean, you need to be very vocative, you need to have opinions, and we need to participate in a lot of things. That's how general education system here. It's inclusive. It's just not that you do you just study your thing and you pass your exams and you go along. And especially when you're working in work areas, most of the time, if people have not studied here, the problem they have is if somebody is making a conversation, if you don't understand, a lot of Indian students and Indians, they are afraid to ask multiple times, which shouldn't be the case. I mean, if you don't understand, you don't understand. You just say, "I'm sorry. Can you tell me?" I mean, people are usually understanding in that aspect, but you just have to make sure. But we typically have, Indians have, especially when we come here, obviously we'll have that submissive culture, and sometimes we reply to questions what they're not asked for, and we say, and it's all about making a conversation. So if you understood it this way, make sure that if you are asking me this is what it is. So those are the tips. Make communications, make conversations. Be clear in what you're saying. It's just fluid. I mean, one good thing about America is everybody is from somewhere. Nobody is like local here. So everybody is from somewhere. This culture is very accommodative. You just have to know their culture and be politically correct. And just get along. So that's two things that I wanted to tell everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, please share your work exposure in Europe. And if you have already worked in India, so let us share on the positive side, work experience in India and then Europe, and then currently you are working in US. So please throw light on the work exposure in these three.
I have over 15 years of experience. When I started back in 2000s, in India, things are like you don't have the tools that you need to work with. That I used to get frustrated. I mean. You don't have fast internet. So if you are working on a website project, you don't have fast internet, you just spend time there. You're not effective. So that used to be my pet peeve back then. That's one of the reasons. I mean, you don't have tools. I mean, that was back then in 2004, 2005, but things have come a long way now. I mean, infrastructure is good. People are given, more tools, and, they are equipped with more things now than before. But then generally, what happens in India, you end up working more because either the information is not coming first hand to you, or
maybe outsourced.
Maybe during the outsourced project, you don't get one-on-one time with your client. So you end up going through a lot of documents. So and in fact, I have worked in a lot of onshore offset projects. The number one complaint from on-site is offshore doesn't ask enough questions.
Okay.
So they have to ask questions. I mean, there are no stupid questions, there are only stupid answers. So that's what I keep telling everyone. You have to, if you don't understand, it doesn't mean you are stupid. It just means you don't have the context. So, and asking questions is a knack again. So, if you ever worked in these scenarios, people will say, if you start saying, I know this may be a stupid question, but I want to ask you anyway. If you go with that line of questioning, people will understand. So they will understand where you're coming from. So instead of being direct, add some context around it. If you're asking a question, say, maybe, this may not be a problem for you, but it is a big problem for me. That is the reason I'm asking. So give a little bit context around that. So in India, you work a little more because, long hours and those things. When you go to on-site, especially in Europe is pretty much laid back. And I mean, they value their work and their personal life. So they balance it to a lot. So that's one thing everybody needs to learn. So the only way you could do it is being smarter. Being smarter about your day-to-day work. You organize, you put your best efforts during your work. If you don't do your personal work during your work hours, you can actually go home after 8 hours of productive work. So that's the kind of balance we need to. That's what I learned myself. So if you just segregate your time, you give 100% to your work hours. I mean, obviously, everybody struggles at every level. As you move up, there are so many responsibilities, there are so many things to do. But then we just have to find that balance one way or the other. In US, I mean, Europe is pretty much laid back. I mean, actually, in Netherlands, if you go, or in Spain or France for some place, I actually saw that everything shuts down during the lunchtime. Okay. And if you want to get a haircut, you can't get a haircut after 6 o'clock in the evening. Okay, and grocery shops are closed after 7. So it was pretty tough for me because we have been in India and we are used to, we are spoiled to having these things anytime we want. But then it was new to me. But then I understood that the person running the grocery shop has a life too. So he needs to go to his life, and he needs to live his life, go to movies or whatever, being with family and everything. So that I kind of appreciate that in Europe.
And I heard when I worked in one of the clients in Austria, in Clayton, I met a couple of guys from Europe. They said Monday to Thursday, and Thursday afternoon, probably Friday afternoon, I guess. Friday afternoon is a family time, and they work only up to Friday off, it seems. Is it true? I mean, that's so.
Yeah, I mean, so that kind of leniencies exist. Again, Europe being a conglomeration of little places. So there are different rules. Generally, French have 35-hour weeks. 35 hours. Everyone else is doing 40, 45 hours. So those things exist, but then it's at the end of the day they get their job done. They do it effectively and they balance their lives and those things. And on the contrary, I'll tell you, when I was in Seoul, South Korea, they work pretty much 12-hour days. It's a part of their culture. And on Saturdays,
12 hours Monday to Friday?
Yeah, Monday to Friday. And Saturday is a half day for them. So they don't take off on Friday either. So, I used to joke, because all these languages have double bad characters, so people need to work double hard, so that's a joke. But that's the Singapore and these places, they are used to that. I mean, they are smaller countries and smaller economies, but then they do outstanding jobs. So I mean, you play by the ears.
That's what I heard. I mean, those who work in Asian nations, they become a very toughest guys, and then working in Western nations would be easy. If you work in Singapore, India.
It's definitely, and commute wise also, I mean, you see, they are more densely populated. So, that's the problem, that's the way of life in India. It's the way of life in Seoul, it's the way of life in Japan, People, if you have heard, people in Japan, there are employees on train stations just to push people in the morning. There are videos there. Because they squeeze, Japan is all about optimization. They don't want to leave an inch on the train. So they that's the mentality as a nation, but they're very good people, but they have this obsession with quality, and so it's definitely, Asian countries expect longer hours and lot of cultural things.
Because of one culture, and second, most of the projects are outsourced from Canada, Europe and America. That's the reason they expect you to work in long hours, right?
I mean, again,
it's more of business. We cannot.
It's more of business. And again, now things are changing. Things are changing, and people are even employers are. A lot of MNCs are there in India now. So it's not the case that only it's Indian companies running the show. It's a lot of MNCs are there. So everybody's up against everyone. So things are changing. But then right? I mean, you have longer commutes. You have to work with your counterparts in other time zones. So you give and take. So that's
I was in ATI, merged into AMD. And then I was not sure, the end time, I worked in IST and then Canada, and end up 2 a.m. at work.
Exactly. So that's where we need to draw lines. Most of the time, we think longer hours means good work. That should not be the case. You rather be smart, plan your work, and go to your. If I were, you have to play by your manager. But if I'm a manager, I would rather have my team come up to me and say, so this is the problem I'm having, how this is what I want to solve, okay? So, give me your inputs. Then at the end of the day, it's the team that is doing the job, and I would give them options, say,
work from home,
cut down on that, and as long as you show the output, it's good. So that's the kind of options we need to give our people. When I was in London, I was there for 18 months, and obviously pound is stronger than US dollar, and I tried to settle down there. So, I mean, I'm being honest, I tried to settle down there, I tried to find employers. But one thing is for sure, Europe being a small continent with multiple countries, especially work permits wise, think of it as if you are from Andhra Pradesh.
Like in India, right?
Like in India. If
continent.
In India, every state India is a country with multiple states. But Europe, think of India, but each state represents its own country, even though they have European Union. Like
in India, like every 25 kilometers or miles, or every 30 miles, the language, accent, and the culture may change.
Exactly.
From Rajasthan to Assam, and then Tamil Nadu to Jammu Kashmir. You see a lot of variations within Andhra.
Exactly. So, but at least there are dialects, but here in Europe, there are different countries. There are different languages altogether. Like they may be semblances, but then in London it's English, and and it's a different accent. British accent is different, and then you just travel by train for 3 hours, and you are in France. French is completely different, and if you go right, there's Netherlands, it's Dutch. So it's Dutch. So I mean. There are so many work rules, work visa status, you need Schengen visas for certain countries, you need a separate work permit, you need to work in UK. So think of, there may be a lot of opportunities, UK is a developed country, but then the number of opportunities can never match the number of opportunities you find in India. Because in India, with if you get work permit, for example, we don't have to get work permit. Think of it in US. You get one work permit, but you can work in 50 states anyway.
50 states in India, yes.
It's up to you.
One H1B visa.
One H1B visa.
L1 or...
One L1. One visa, one work authorization, you can find opportunities in 50 states.
Yes.
But in Europe, you need 50 work authorizations to work in such 50 countries.
So how do you commute? Even when commute also you need... transit visa, right?
Transit visas. So I tried. So it didn't work out in the sense.
Commuting in Europe.
Commuting in Europe. Obviously, you will get UK work permit. You have to only work in UK. If you ever need to go to France, you have to actually get a transit visa, Schengen visa, and you need to get, even for visiting, you need to get. And Schengen visa is very hard to get, and they don't give you for longer time. So it is like you have to build a travel history for them. So if you apply for a visa, you better travel on that visa.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, if you get a visa, you don't travel and you go like apply again, they'll ask you, why didn't you travel last time around?
Okay.
So that's why, I mean, my passport is full of Schengen visas because I used to travel every month there because my client was there. So first I got it for 7 days. I asked for 7 days, I only got visa for 7 days.
7 days, okay.
So I went there, I came back and I went next time. Then they trusted because I traveled. Then I got it for 3 months. Then I got it for 6 months. So that's how it builds. So Europe, you have to expect that way. I mean, there are people that have settled down there. There are, I mean, work permits. There are work permits that are specific. They are not like employer specific like they are in US. They are. You can. There is a highly skilled migration program in UK. I don't know if they still have that. So based on your qualifications, they'll give you points, just like Canada does.
Okay. I mean, currently, I got a question here. Like currently, guys try for H1B for years. Is there any facility like that to opportunity for Indians, IT professionals to try European nations?
Yes, there is. So each country has its own program. I can speak for my knowledge. If you are going to UK, I'm not sure about the current, but then a couple of years back they had a HSMP program.
Oh yeah.
Highly skilled migrant program. So you don't need any employer to sponsor you. You can actually go to the particular website, Homeland or DHS, I forget, and they'll give you application, straightforward application. Based on your qualifications, they'll give you points.
Okay.
So, for example, if you have a PhD, you get certain points. You have 11 years work experience, you have some points. So, based on the points, you get temporary visa. You can go and find a job there. So, it's the government directly giving you rather than employer bringing you to the country.
Okay. For example, I applied through HSMP and then, I'm not asking authentic information, just knowledge.
Yeah.
And then I'm qualified for a country in Europe. So then once I go there and join the job or...
Yeah, so once you apply for HSMP, you can be anywhere in the world. You give them your information and everything. Okay. Think of it H1B without employer.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you apply. You apply for it. You show your credentials.
Okay.
They verify whatever they have to verify. There are processing fees and everything. And then once they are happy with it, they say you're you're eligible. You'll get you'll get HSMP authorization.
Okay.
But then you still go to your the country's embassy, get stamped.
Yeah.
Because one thing we need to understand: every country, the criminal background of the candidate will be determined in the local embassy.
Okay.
The skill set that is required to perform a job is determined by by the authority who is giving you authorization. So that is why they say you need to every time you go out of the country, you have to get stamped after a certain period of time. So that gives them time to see if you have any criminal activity between that time.
I asked my attorney friend, why should I leave country for, I went to Canada for H1B stamping. Why should I exit country? Why don't America can reissue the visa here? Then he explained the same. Meanwhile, if you stay during, say, of 3 years in US, if you committed any crime, so they will cross check, and then if you committed, there is a chance to escape here. The candidate is inside. So you have to exit the country, then they will decide. If yes, then they will allow you to re-enter.
It's easy for them to block you outside the country rather than prosecute you and go through everything. Yes. I mean, there are policies, to account for that.
Thank you, and a few more questions. So let me ask you questions on US. When did you enter? I mean, not exact the date and year. What I'm saying. I mean, why do you want to come to US one, and when did you enter, and what are your journey of life experience? Are there traumas that you have faced with the H1Bs?
I have been traveling, as I said, for quite some time, around 13-14 years now. So I came to US in 2002 through my employer, Indian employer back then, and then I went back. That was the time in 2002 I came, and then
you faced the recession also there.
Yeah, I faced the recession also. Things were there was a time when if you knew Java, you were making a lot of money, but I wasn't there here that time. But then after 9/11, immediately took 2 years, and I was here in 2002 to 2003. I had to go back for my personal thing, but then I tried to settle back here, and that time, you would apply and you will try to find your employment, and sometimes it didn't work out. So I went back, and then I always wanted to travel, so I joined Satyam. And then they sent me to South Korea.
Okay.
I always wanted to travel. I wanted to travel experience. And then the thing is, I went there. Okay, I knew that place. I worked there for 6 months. I came back, and then I went to Europe, and then I stayed there for roughly 2 years, and then I had to come back. So my intention was, it's good. I have a job security. Every time a project is over, I can.
Yeah, Tech Mahindra.
Now
they'll take care of the
projects and everything. But then at that time I was single. But then what's happening is I'm juggling between a lot of things. It happens to everyone. So this is a standard process. So you come through them, you juggle through a lot of things, and then you say, hey, I don't want to go back when they ask me to go back. I want to go back when I want to go back.
Oh, okay.
Right, because obviously if you are not without a project, they won't allow you to stay more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are instances when people went back and came back within 1 week.
Yeah.
But how difficult would it be for those guys, because they have to move, and when you are set up in a place for quite some time, you have your stuff.
Yes.
You need to throw the bag and only to come back after 1 week to need everything else again.
Yes.
So it's not only that. So the moving, and so then I decided. I was working on a very hot technology documentum back then, so it was very good, and also I wanted to get to the next level of consulting, because Indian companies you only do certain work. But then you get into typical consulting where you do architecture and the high-end consulting and stuff. So then I came through. I had multiple offers actually. So in 2004 itself, I had my H1 petition approved by a company, but then I chose to go to Europe.
Okay. So you went to Europe again?
Yeah, I went to Europe again through this company. Okay. And then after that, because that project was over, and they asked me to go back. And actually, after UK, I came back to US for 3 months.
Okay.
Because my company sent me directly here.
Yeah.
So in fact, they charged me at both the clients. Okay. I didn't get anything, but that's how these companies do.
Yeah.
So I came to US. I was here on a business visa for 2 to 6 weeks, and through business, and then I went back and executed that project from India. And that's when I thought, enough. I don't want to juggle between these things. I want to have continuity. Then I came to US I already had the visa. Yeah. So I said, let me take that visa. I came here. Then I did consulting stuff. As a consultant, you move around projects. Yeah. That's the nature. That's the market here. Right? So after so
you are continuously the same H1B employer since 2002, or
no. So in 2002 I came on L1, and then I went back, and then in 2005 I came back on B1, and then I went back to India. Then I came back on H1.
Yeah.
It's a different company, H1, and then in 2007 I joined a product company.
Okay.
That's a different H1. So you keep
from continuously 2008 you are on the same H1B board, right?
Yeah, I'm on the H1B board from 2006. 2006 and onwards.
Okay.
I've been on the same board. Yeah.
So what are your experiences on H1B? Immigration issues.
Yeah, immigration issues. There are issues, but then there are companies. There are companies who go by the book of Allah, and the rules are not clear too. For example, it's nowhere it says once you lose your status you have to go. Even some attorneys say you have to go immediately. It's not possible. Humanly, all laws in US there is always a human angle. So, and there is this always in good faith action. So if you act in good faith, you will be understood. Okay, so some attorneys say if you lose your status, you have to go back in 2 days. It is nowhere written like that.
But technically, technically, if the visa is expired on September, for example, September 15th, September 14th midnight, I have to leave the country, right?
Yeah. you have to leave the country, there are two things. If you have applied for something and the decision has not been made on that,
yes,
you always, that is called good faith.
Good faith. Okay.
Okay, if somebody asks you, hey, you are visa expert, why are you here? Because, hey, I have applied for this.
Yeah.
Because it's taking time.
Yes.
That's good faith action.
Yes.
You don't do anything, you stay here out of status, and you'll be deported when
then you lose the immigration.
you're losing the status. So, but in US, it's always important to have that good faith action.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so after that, I joined a product company. I was there for 4 years, and it was a pretty good work I did. I learned a lot. I worked in pharma industry a lot. And I knew about regulatory process. I knew about the way FDA does work. And in fact, I tried to implement some of these standards back in India, but tying up with the company. I mean, that didn't go anywhere. But then so that's the natural evolution of stuff. And again, when I was with a product company that had only 50 employees, it was a good run for 5 years, and after that company was not growing, so I had to move on. So I moved on to the next step with consulting and all. So I have seen quite a few, but immigration issues and visas, because I always had a straightforward case. So because I have traveled so much, I have travel history. Everything built out, and in multiple countries, that always helped me to get. So even sometimes I actually got stamped in London.
Okay.
You generally don't get stamped in outside your country.
Okay.
That's a standard.
Okay.
So if you are applying for UK visa in US, okay, UK embassy can always say, because this is not your home country.
Oh, you have to exit and go to home country.
Go to home country and do it. So there are some stricter laws. Sometimes you get away because they see your passport and you have been stamped 100 times. Then they say, this guy is legitimate. So there are all kinds of things. So I got stamped. So there were experiences. But I mean, everything worked out well.
Okay. Do you have any knowledge on H1B immigration issues, or, for example, overtime issues, or H1B? Let us share views and knowledge to my friends.
My knowledge is administrative action. So as you know, there are so many people who are going to visa stamping, either to their home country back in India or to Canada or nearby places. There are chances when there is a query raised on their case. So they are indefinitely stuck where they are.
In client letters.
So sometimes what happens, no matter how straightforward your case is, if the petition officer, as a standard practice or for whatever God known reason, they can say, we need to verify your background. We need to verify the documents that you have presented to us. Okay. They are doing their job, but unfortunately there is no SLA for that. So it's like they have to they have to finish that administrative processing in like 1 month or 2 months. There is no written rule like that. So
there is no end time.
There is no end time. So I mean, I was really surprised. I have heard some friends who had that problem. They went back to India. There is a straightforward case. That guy even had 5 years of pay timesheets and pay statements. So not even a single lapse. So that's such a strong case. But then he went and he got stuck in India.
221G or 241G.
Yeah, 221G. Exactly. That's what they give. So people do a lot of research into blue, red, green. It doesn't matter. Whatever they just give you, this 221G. So logically, a couple of things you can do. You first. So first of all, once you are out of the consulate, you cannot contact them directly. You have to go back through the channel. They always give you a mailbox, and God knows who is reading that. You are just at their mercy. So you have to be in touch. They won't tell you much, but you have to be in touch. You don't want to piss them off, but you want to say.
Is it through employer or through attorney?
Through attorney. Attorneys don't have that visibility. The problem is Homeland Security is here. Okay, attorneys can talk to them. Okay, attorneys cannot talk to the consulates. All you can do is present the letter, and the case officer, if he wants to pursue something, he wants to pursue something. So there is no face-to-face conversation. Okay. And another problem is if you are stuck, if your paperwork is stuck at the consulate, it goes at such a snail pace. You know, it has to come to the Homeland here. A case officer has to be applied, and there is a different cell that does that. So the document. So think of it like a typical government process, and it takes months and months. So you get frustrated. So think of this. So if somebody is getting stuck at Canada, I've known people who went to Canada, and some people they waited 3 months patiently because their client was supporting them. So they say if they ask for client letter, some clients don't give client letters. They just say, that's not our policy. So ultimately, I know people who waited in Canada for 3 months, and after that they got their H1 and they came back. I know people who had waited for 3 months and their case didn't go through. And in order to stay in Canada, you need Canada visa. You need Canada visa, tourist visa, and so again you get into that immigration. So your safe bet is just go to India where you don't have any issues and start putting your things there. So the best options are be in contact with consulate. They won't respond to you. You just send them, but then you have to be courteous. Just because you have urgency, they don't ask you. You have to be courteous in your communication. Be courteous. Tell them facts, and just keep fingers crossed. Next thing what you can do is your employer can start lobbying for you, but most employers won't do that because it's a time and energy for them. But then if you know someone, USS, you can actually take a info pass and go to USCIS. But most often than not, what happens is if your case is stuck in consulate, it takes at least 2-3 months even to get that petition to US to a USCIS office in the States. And then somebody has to look at your petition. So it is like 3-4 months, and there is no status update anywhere, like the processing. So you would randomly get somebody looks at that case, and you will get randomly somebody open your case. So you don't know. So that's the whole frustration part of it. So the best options you have is keep yourself engaged. Keep try all options. If you know a senator, local senator, that local senator can probably do something if you have a genuine case. And then just keep fingers crossed. And the best thing is there are people after 1 year their visa gets denied. They say their petition gets revoked. So the best is some people say if you already have a query you should not apply. No, you can apply if anybody is willing. You have a genuine case. You have genuine qualifications and credentials. If any company is ready to file for you, go for it. Okay, so this doesn't matter. So there you can.
That means 221G. Can I go for new H1 employer?
Yes, you can always. You can always. But then you have to see again. You know better. So if you are going through a multinational company, if they're filing for you, you have a better chance of getting it. Okay. Because they do the job beforehand, right? And these the consulates trust them more because they don't want their reputation to be bad because by sponsoring a negative candidate.
Always your advice is to always prefer the multinational companies.
Yes, straightforward cases. There is. Anybody knowing visa process, there is no sure short way. But the best chances are, go through a multinational company if they are willing to process your case. Which is, in India, it's a long line to get a H1 process. So
I was standing in line.
I was too some time back. But you keep trying to resolve your 221. But meanwhile, if anybody is ready to sponsor. But again, don't go for this money payment and all those things. But then you have to be, anytime you have to be very, very candid. And the point is, someone filing for you is one thing, but then you again have to go back for visa stamping, and that time this will come up. They'll ask you. You have to, in your DH60 form, I forget the visa. DS160 form, you have to, there is a column that says, have you ever been applied and have you ever been rejected? Okay, so this means rejection. 221G is technically a rejection. Okay, and you have to tell them. So I applied this, and they only ask you if you have been rejected in the last 12 months. Okay, so you have to be very, very clear. visa process is all about being truthful.
Yeah.
Whether you have a negative remark, you better say the negative remark rather than hiding it. You know, they're gonna know because your information is up there.
Yes.
So those are the two advices I will give.
When I went a couple of times to US visa, and I shared my experience to my viewers. And I was so honest. I mean, I wrote in the DS forms and I carried the same thing. I was doing a non-IT job in ATIM. I was the executive secretary to the CEO. I wrote the same thing in the DS forms. I was not scared. I mean, it's an after all visa, whether they leave or not. I told them this is what I'm doing because I had lost my job, so I got this non-IT job. I was that fair. I mean, when it comes to visas. Otherwise, it gives a bad stamp on the passport.
Again, I mean, it's a 50-50 thing. I mean, so anything with respect to your credentials, your job qualifications, you better be confident. You better be fair. You know. So I mean, why do you want to? For I mean, an analogy. If you are a good bowler, why do you want to claim as a batsman?
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
Sooner than later they are gonna know. So, I mean, again, it's judgment. There are some things, if you had a F1 rejection way back in 2002, should you...
When I went for H1, I mean, second time, they asked the previous history, why did you apply for F1?
Yeah. So, again, they know everything. Including your thumb prints, everything that you do they have in their systems. So why do you want to give the impression they are trying to cheat? The last thing you want to do with the visa officer is give them a wrong impression. So you be honest. I mean, if you're gonna get H1, there is nothing fluke in H1. If you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it. There are bad days. A genuine candidate may get rejected solely because there is no more room. But then the best shot anyone has of getting H1 visa is being candid and being truthful.
Thank you, Ravi, for
my pleasure. If it's helping anyone, I would be glad.
And I have a question for guys. I mean, students, whether it's in India or America or wherever outside America. What is your advice when they are when they are planning to enter the IT information technology?
Okay, one thing everybody needs to understand is you have to keep on learning. You cannot be on the same technology forever. First thing, so be prepared for that. So you will probably change multiple things. Once you know your basics well, you can easily pick up on other things. But if it comes to one, there will be definitely in the technology field. Definitely there will be new things that people catch up, and the new waves that come every few months. So people have to stay abreast on that. So for example, CRM, Salesforce is hot. We cannot single out one thing, and I would say keep looking at what's hot in the market. You always have to reinvent yourself, and then again it should suit your skill set.
Always be on the wheels of training, right?
Yes, always be on the wheels of training. Try to get to next level. For example, cloud computing is hot. Everybody knows that. So even within cloud computing, what else is hot? I mean, it's simple. Go to dice.com, and if you know technologies, just type it there and see how many open positions are there. That's a good indication itself. How many positions are on that technology. So that's a good indication itself, and you figure it out for yourself. So you test the market yourself. So and again, always, don't completely break away. Try to build on your previous tool to this tool so that you can. Otherwise, what happens is the moment you are in CRM, and if you go to non-CRM, whatever you did in CRM doesn't hold good here. Okay. So you try to build on, like CRM has like 4 tools. You work on one tool, try to get onto the other tool. So you're still in the CRM field. At the end of the day, a tool is a mean to an end. It's not an end in itself. So any technology is a means to an end. So if any implementation you go, you use the technology to help the business. So at the end of the day, you need to balance your knowledge in both business and technology. So that's my advice. So build your business prudence and business qualifications as well. Understand the business, why you're doing what you're doing is that's important. So try to get to that level where you can start solutioning independent of the technology, because at the end of the day, CRM is CRM, whether you're doing in X technology, Y technology, Z technology.
Good advice. I mean, otherwise generally .NET and enter market. That's not the
So try to do high end, and obviously, we all need to make a living. So if you want to start on .NET, yes, every technology is written in Java or .NET or anything. So start with that, but then carve out your specificity. Like I want to go in this direction, but don't try to reinvent completely 360 degrees. So you read CRM and you are in doing networking right now. So it's good. You will be a jack of all trades, but you won't be a master of anything. So try to build on your previous job to next job, so that you have a continuity in
complete track and path
will be your path.
Thank you.
My pleasure. I hope whoever is listening to this, watching this will find it useful. And
we'll meet in the next session.
We'll meet in the next session.
Thank you.